Michigan and Ohio State. The maize and blue versus the scarlet and gray. Gets the goosebumps going, doesn't it? Another edition of this rivalry is here, and we're getting ready for it. With Jack Miller and John Jansen, I'm Brian Bush. Welcome into this game day edition of Inside Michigan Football. Like last season, the Wolverines head into the game coming off their most lopsided Big Ten win of the season. Northwestern was the opponent last year, Maryland this year, in a 45-20 Wolverines win. Offensively, Bryson Cusdahl churned out a 100-yard, 3-touchdown performance on the ground, while Bryce Underwood threw touchdown passes to both Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCulley. Defensively, the Wolverines racked up 3 sacks against Maryland quarterback Malik Washington, who had only been sacked 3 times all season coming into the game. But as head coach Sharon Moore explains, it's a new week, and in this rivalry, a new year.
Being a part of rivalries, the other games don't matter. You know, whatever happened in the past doesn't matter, so all we can do is focus on now. This is a new team, new staff, new players, new coaches, again, new environment, different. And so all we can do is focus on, like, today, and that's it.
So, guys, how would you describe playing in this game, the game?
It's the most intense game that you're going to play in while you're here at Michigan. And whether it's here or down in the Horseshoe, there is nothing that matches it, nothing compares to it. And to handle the intensity that this game brings, it's the entire year that you've got to be preparing, and you've got to be locked in so that you're not distracted by the fans, not distracted by anything the opponent is doing. You've got to be zeroed in because of the intensity.
I think passion is the number one word that comes to mind. You talk about it all season long. What have you done to beat Ohio State? And then obviously the opponents throughout the year matter, but this is the one that you always have circled. This is late November. Everything kind of rides, particularly on this game, and it's something you're thinking about day in and day out. All those grueling winter conditioning practices or spring practice, fall camp, whatever it is, this is the one that's always in the back of your head.
So with that being said, how do you see that 365-day mentality show up and help when you get to the preparation of the game?
You almost think there's nothing to lose. You've put in so much to get to this point. You have thought about it every day. You've worked your tail off every day. You've been with your team trying to figure out, what do I need to do to beat Ohio State? And now the opportunity is finally there. You're waiting, and now you finally have that chance.
And there's different phases that you're going through, right? The off season, it's all about strength and conditioning. You're trying to get bigger, faster, stronger with the goal of beating Ohio State at the end of the year. But there's also a lot of the mental side that you could take care of in the offseason where you're watching film. If you played in that game last year, how did you play? What are some of the things that you did, can improve upon? Maybe you're even playing against the same guy, so now you get a chance to add to the book that you're building on them. And then throughout the course of the year, with the benefit of having 2 bye weeks, now all of a sudden, everybody's going to talk about being focused on the next opponent, but that extra bye week, it allows you to add a little bit of that film that you're looking at and watching, preparing for that last game of the year.
And speaking of benefits, Michigan gets the home crowd behind it. How do 111,000 plus impact this rivalry?
There is absolutely no better environment. And I mean, the best one that I think I've ever seen is the 21 game. With the snow coming down, but when you look up in the stands and you see everybody that is 100% invested in this game from 6 in the morning until the game is over, and after we beat Ohio State, they're going to be partying in the streets. It's just an unbelievable experience, and it's almost hard to put words to the impact that 111,000 people, while it may not be as loud as some other stadiums, the impact that you get, the energy that you get from that crowd is immeasurable.
Yeah, I agree. The energy in the place feels different than any other game. And it might not be the loudest stadium, but there is an aura that goes around when Ohio State and Michigan come to the Big House and play in that environment. And maybe late in the game, that extra energy, that extra oomph gets a D lineman off the ball a bit quicker or goes a little bit harder running down the ball. Those are the little things that it's hard to put into words, but when the fans are engaged and the place is roaring, that team feeds on that energy, and it might be the difference in making a play or not.
Let's hear from both coordinators. First, John is with a coach who will experience this rivalry for the first time. Offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey.
Coach, I know there's a lot made about this rivalry, and this will be your first experience. What have you learned from the coaches? What have you heard, or what have you known coming to Michigan about the rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State?
Yeah, you know what? You can feel the energy already this week, and it's called the game for a reason, right? And I'm excited to be a part of it. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do between now and Saturday, but just trying to stay focused on getting our team prepared, and so we can have the best opportunity to play well on Saturday.
Where is this offense at this time of the year as you're preparing for the last game of the regular season?
I like where we are. I think we're improving each and every week. We played probably one of our most complete games last Saturday, and that's what it's going to take to beat a good football team. You're going to have to really, take care of the football and execute at a high level, and be a lot of challenges this weekend for sure. But I feel great about where our guys are right now.
A lot of confidence coming out of that Maryland game, and I've always thought confidence, especially in the game of football, is huge. How much does that mean to you to have confidence in your players, but to see that confidence in your players?
I think it's a great point. You see young players growing right in front of your eyes, and the more confidence they play with, they play faster, they execute at a higher level, and I think that's a huge part of playing really well on offense, is feeling like you're comfortable doing it. It's like that old deal, riding a bike, right? You've done it a million times, and that's what you want those guys to feel like. Hopefully we get enough reps during the week and practice where those guys can feel really comfortable on Saturday.
Bryce Underwood has had a heck of a freshman season. What are your expectations, or where is he at? Where have you seen the biggest growth in him this year?
Yeah, I think the confidence issue we mentioned earlier, for one, he's played now. It's a big jump to go from high school into the Big Ten, and he's really doing a nice job of settling down and being real decisive in his decision making. I think that's the key to playing that position really well, is trusting what your eyes see and getting your body and your feet where they're supposed to be. And I think you're seeing him grow on that each and every week.
We saw a great connection between Bryce and Andrew Marsh, but really Bryce and everybody in that Maryland game. Where is that connection between Bryce and the receivers right now?
Yeah, I think it's improving. I think you saw a lot of different people touch the ball the other day, and that's, I think we had 3 different tight ends catch a pass, multiple receivers, 3 different receivers, a couple running backs, and we want to have an offense that is very versatile, and I think we're starting to get in that position where we take what the defense gives us, and I think that's the key to playing that position really well, is not trying to force things and really just taking what they give us.
As a play caller, how have you adjusted with having different styles of running backs in the backfield?
Yeah, luckily they've all done a nice job. I think during the week, game planning wise, you're always trying to put your guys in the best position. Okay, what do these guys do well, and then what can we execute at a high level, and then how does that fit versus the defense you think you're going to see? And I think the staff, tribute to those guys, everybody on staff, we all do a great job of being collaborative and trying to put our guys in the best position, and that's the goal each and every week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
The defense had another strong showing on the road at Maryland heading into this rivalry clash. Here's John with defensive coordinator Wink Martindale.
Coach, a lot build up to this game. There's more riding on it this year. How are you keeping your guys centered on just the task at hand?
I think that, you say there's more riding on it, but it's the game. So the kids' focus, the players' focus is at 100%, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Linebackers have been the strength of this defense, at least with the terms of the depth that they've had. What have you seen from their performance?
Well, I think, that they've played at a very high level. I was just talking to, some different people about, Jimmy, because, he's really made a name for himself since he's been starting. And it'll be interesting to see that matchup itself, and it'll be fun to watch him play.
A lot of people love watching Jay Sean come off the edge. There's so much more to play in that position. How have you seen him grow from week 1 when we first saw him at that edge? We saw him a little bit last year, but to where he is now.
I think you see a difference in, with the experience that he's gaining out there, his reaction to blocks. And, like Maryland, that came up big, and he made some good plays for us and did some big things.
And then the growth in the secondary. We've all seen the young guys play, and we've seen a lot of freshmen play. What's been the biggest area of growth?
Well, I think it's like the Boy Scouts back there. I mean, they're so young, and all over the place. And you're seeing some leaders stand up, and with TJ Metcalf and Chug, has really elevated his play. But it's fun to watch. Mason, all those different guys, B-Hill. It's been fun to watch.
Game's not played till noon Saturday. How do you temper emotions throughout the course of the week so that the game doesn't actually get played Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, but they're ready to go Saturday.
Are you talking about me or my wife or
Just the guys on the
kids?
team. You can do whatever you want.
No, I think that it's a lot of, that's why I'm saying it's so fun to play in this game, is because they know it's Monday. And, you know, I think the biggest thing is a, you know, defensive staff, like we were meeting this morning, I want to keep us in our rhythm. You know, so, you know, hey, we're not going to do this because it's Ohio State. No, let's just stay in our rhythm. And you know, I think it does it. It's easy to motivate for this game as the week goes on, and you'll see all the greats like yourself, and you know, Charles will be here. He just told me, and all the different people that'll show up, which is pretty cool.
Last one I'll ask you. Through 11 weeks, what would you say the identity of your defense is?
I think we're physical, and I think we're physical. We're tough. And we run our ass off to the football. And I think when you start there defensively, you got a chance to be pretty good.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
So what does Sharon Moore believe that Michigan must do to win over the Buckeyes? Here's how the head coach summed it up earlier this week.
One, you got to win the line of scrimmage. Always got to do that. You can't let outside variation, outside things, outside noise control the preparation and the progress of what we're doing and the process of what we're doing, because there's a lot of things going on, right? It's college game day, it's big noon kickoff, it's this, it's that. There's going to be a lot of people here, but at the end of the day, we got to channel our focus on our preparation, and that's how you win. You know, prepare the way we prepared for those last 3 games.
Well, guys, of course, Michigan has won this game 4 consecutive years. John, any similarities that Michigan can carry over from those performances, from those games that they can implement? Different team in 2025, but what can carry over?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're looking all the way back to 21, all the way through this year, the commonality between those 4 wins is you have to win at the line of scrimmage. You've dominated up front. You've been the tougher, more physical team. Ohio State last year tried to match that physicality, and they came up short. So you've got to be able to win in the trenches. Offensive line, as soon as that first play is run, you've got to set the tone. You've got to come off. You've got to be road graders. If it's pass protection, you've got to play with the same amount of violence. It's just a little bit more controlled. And defensively, you've got to get after the quarterback. You know, it's really going to come down to being able to stop the run. And we talk about these rivalry games. It's about stopping the run and getting after the quarterback. And it's kind of the same recipe no matter the opponent, but in these, it matters even more.
Well, how about the things that we didn't have last year? An explosive offense, the ability to get the ball downfield, a quarterback that you felt really confident could get the wide receivers engaged, the tight ends engaged, and get that running game going. We didn't have that last year. We were able to come up with the upset down in Columbus. Now that you have those threats, it opens up a whole other dynamic in this game.
First-year starter at quarterback for Ohio State, Julian Sayin, an unknown back in August. He's been one of the best players in the country this season. What stands out?
I think the poise that he's played with for a young guy. I mean, watching him throughout the course of the year, the touch that he's able to put on balls, knowing where his wide receivers are, and just being in rhythm and the timing, he's looked incredibly comfortable the entire year.
I think it's more growth and patience. You look at the way they opened the season up with Texas. Wasn't very accurate. They didn't ask him to do a lot, but there wasn't an explosive offense. But every single week, they're putting more and more on his plate. He's a veteran guy, maybe his first year starting, but it's not his first year of college football. And he has just absorbed everything that they've thrown at him. Now you're looking at a quarterback that has pretty good athleticism, but he's accurate down the field. He makes good decisions. He doesn't put the ball at risk a lot, and it's going to be a huge challenge for this defense.
For Ohio State defensively, some outstanding individual talents, the likes of Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Caden Curry, and Caleb Downs. Collectively, John, what stands out about the Buckeyes?
It's just their athleticism on defense. When you look, whether it's in the secondary, at the line of scrimmage, linebackers, these guys run around. They're fast. They're great athletes. They have really good change of direction. And their technique, they're very technically sound. They're playing a much more complicated defense than we've seen Ohio State play with Matt Patricia as their new defensive coordinator. So a lot of NFL concepts because they have NFL talent.
Well, listen, the one thing we've always known about Ohio State is they do have great talent. And year in and year out, there's been good talent on that offense and that defense. It's no different this year. It's about what we do up front at the line of scrimmage, how we can control the game, slow it down a little bit so that their defense is having to wear down throughout the course of the game and our running game can get going.
121st all-time meeting, Wolverines and Buckeyes. That was game day edition of Inside Michigan Football. For John Jansen and Jack Miller, I'm Brian Bush. Enjoy the game.